Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In the continuation of solid dosage form, today we are going to discuss granules after powders. In previous two lectures, we have discussed that what are powders, how powders are characterized, what are the different methods for the preparation of powder. All these things we have discussed in previous lectures. In the continuation of those lectures, students, today we are going to discuss granules. That what are granules in the course of dosage form science. Student, granules are prepared agglomerates of smaller particles of powder. It means that these are the agglomerates or aggregation of the powder particles which are smaller in size. Smaller size particles of powder are made adhered with one another to increase their size to form granules. Means granules are greater in size than the individual powder particles. Granules are the aggregation or agglomerates of smaller powder particles. Why students powders are converted into granules? Because granules are easy to handle, and with the help of these granules we can prepare a uniform size of the powder. So granules are prepared through granulation process, and there are different methods which are used for the granulation. These the most common methods which are used are dry granulation and wet granulation method. So in this chapter or in this topic, which is granules, we will discuss that how granules are prepared and what are the different methods for the preparation of granules. Students, as we have discussed, granules are powdered dosage forms in which individual powder particles adhere with one another to form a larger powder particle with uniform size. So granules are prepared agglomerates of smaller particles of powder. They are irregularly shaped but may be prepared to be spherical. As we have discussed that powders are in a powder bed, the size of the powder particles are different from one another. So one of the best the method to make them uniform in size is the process of granulation, in which granules are prepared from powder material. They are usually in 4 to 12 mesh sieve size range. Means granules are obtained when powder particles are in the size range of the sieve, that is 4 to 12. Although granules of various sizes may be prepared depending upon their application. So granules are prepared by wet methods and dry methods. One basic wet method is to moisten the powder of or powder mixture and then pass the resulting paste through a screen of the desired mesh size to produce the granules. The granules are placed then on drying trays and are dried by air or heat. So student, one of the basic method for the preparation of granules is wet method, in which the whole powder mass which is to be converted into granule is wet with a liquid which is called granulated liquid, or you can also use simple water. It will depend on the nature of the powder and your active ingredient in those powder. So with that, which solvent is required for their wetting. So students, granules are prepared by wet method such that the powder or the powder mass is moistened with a liquid, and then this wet mass is passed through different screen of the desired size, and then granules are produced. These granules are then dried by tray dryers by using air or heat. So what are the advantages why we convert powders into granule? We will shortly discuss the advantages of the process. Because of their flow properties, granulations are commonly used in tablet making to facilitate the free flow of material from the feeding container, that is hopper, into the tablet press. So one of the important thing is that we can handle powder easily so that we convert powders into granules. Because their surface area is less than that of the comparable volume of powder, granules are usually more stable to the effects of atmospheric humidity and are less likely to cake or harden upon standing. These problems may occur with the powders, but when we convert powder into granules, we reduce these drawbacks of the solid dosage form. Granules also are more easily wetted by liquids than are certain light and fluffy powders. So it is easy to wet the granules than the light and fluffy powder and are often preferred for dry products intended to be constituted into solution or suspension. So granules are usually prepared for dry products that are then used in the solutions or suspension which is reconstituted before its usage. Students' dry method of granulation is roller compactor. Fine powder is passed through two mechanically rotating metal rolls. The compacted powder is granulated to uniform particle size in a mechanical granulator. Apparatus which is used to make granule is called granulator. The granulator are available in different size with different combination of the blade inside the granulator. Powder compactors are generally combined in sequence in integrated compactor granulation system. Students, roller compactor is a method through which fine powder is passed through two mechanically rotating rollers, which then convert into a granules. Powder is converted into granules. Slugging is the compression of powder or powder mixture into large tablets. What is slugging? Slugging means compression of powder into large tablets. These are also called slugs on compressing machine under 8,000 to 12,000 pound pressure. The slugs are generally flat faced and are about 2.5 centimeter in diameter. The slugs are granulated into the desired particle size generally for use in production of tablets. Because powders are very fine in nature, so we first convert those powders into slugs into large tablets, and then those slugs are passed through desired mesh sizes to prepare granules, and then the granules are used for tablet making. There are certain active materials in practical industries or in practice which require slugging before compression to make them uniform. So slugging is simply a process in which large tablets are produced. These tablets are then crushed into different granule size as per requirement. Effervescent granules, effervescent granulated salts. Effervescent granules contain medicinal agent in a dry mixture usually composed of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and tartaric acid. Effervescence is, as you know that effervescence is a process in which carbon dioxide is released. So we can also prepare effervescent granules by using these acids. When added to water, the acids and the base react to liberate carbon dioxide, resulting in effervescence. So uh, the release of carbon dioxide is called effervescence. The resulting carbonated solution masks undesirable taste of any medicinal agent. Care must be taken as sudden and rapid effervescence could overflow the glass and leave little residual carbonation in the solution. Students using a combination of citric acid and tartaric acids is better rather than either acid alone is used because it avoids certain difficulties when we use these in combination. When tartaric acid is used as a sole acid or alone, the resulting granules readily lose their firmness and they are fragile and breaks. Citric acid alone results in sticky mixture difficult to granulate. Student, these are the equation for this is sodium bicarbonate, this is citric acid. When it both reacts, water, carbon dioxide, and sodium citrate is produced. Similarly, tartaric acid, sodium bicarbonate, tartaric acid, Then if it reacts with base acid, react with base acid, react with base to produce water, carbon dioxide, and sodium tartrate. The ratio the ratio of effervescent ingredient is 1 is to 2 is to 3.4 for the citric acid, tartaric acid, and sodium bicarbonate. Student, effervescent granules are prepared by two general methods. It is dry or fusion method and wet method. What is dry or fusion method? In the fusion method, one molecule of water present in each molecule of citric acid acts as a binding agent for powder mixture. Means water of hydration is present in the structure of citric acid, which is used as a binding agent for the powder mixture, so that powder mixture come close with one another and form granules. After mixing, the powder is placed on a suitable dish in an oven at 34 to 40 degrees centigrade. This causes the softened mass of powder to become somewhat spongy, and when it has reached the proper consistency as bread dough, it is removed from the oven and rubbed through a sieve to produce granules of the desired size. The granules are dried at a temperature not exceeding 54 degrees centigrade and are immediately placed in containers and tightly sealed. This is the dry fusion method, students, in which there is no addition of any liquid. The liquid, which is a part of the molecular structure of citric acid, which is called water of hydration, act as a binder, and the powder particles aggregate with one another to form granules. In wet method, we usually add a granulating fluid, which after that we will have to dry it. In this method, all powders may be anhydrous as long as water is added to the moisturizing liquid. Just enough liquid is added to prepare a mass of proper consistency. Finally, the granules are prepared and dried. Students, granules in this chapter, we shortly discuss that what are granules. Granules are agglomerates of powder particles. Why we done granulation? To handle the powder easily and to make a uniform size so that it will facilitate further the process of compression. Because as we know that in compression process, the weight of the tablet depend on its flow properties. If there will be ununiform flow, then there will be a weight variation and it will ultimately result the content uniformity of the dose. So there will be no equal distribution of your active ingredient throughout the powder, which may result in therapeutic loss. So students, granules are simply agglomerates or aggregates of smaller powder particles. And there are different methods in practice which are used for the process of granulation. These methods are dry granulation, wet granulation, and these methods are mostly applied in industrial practices for the powders to be compressed into tablet. Before compression, we usually granulate those powder materials so that uniform size, uniform flow, and content uniformity is achieved during compression process. So in this lecture today, we have discussed that what are granules and then advantages of granules. After that, dry methods for the preparation of granules, in which we discuss ruler compactor and slugging process. In slugging process, large tablets are prepared under high pressure, and then these large tablets are then crushed to form granules, which are then used for the manufacturing of the tablet dosage form. Granules itself may be used as a dosage form, and when they are taken by the patient, the granules are reconstituted. So students, for today lecture, we have discussed that what are granules, what are the advantages of granules, and what are the method for the preparation of granules. And then what are the method for the preparation of effervescent granules. By effervescent granules, we simply mean when these granules are added to water, they produce effervescence, means carbon dioxide is released, and this carbon dioxide then can mask the undesirable taste of the active ingredient. So different flavors may also be incorporated into granules. Students, I think this is enough for today. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we will discuss tablets and capsules. Thank you very much.